So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Monday the 13th of October, so an absolutely crazy weekend in the markets. We can talk all we want about the news and, the manipulation and stuff like that, but we won't really. I mean, we might talk about that a bit at the end of the stream when I finish recording, but let's just start off with the data. Economic calendar, we've got an extremely volatile week. So I believe it's a holiday in America today, but the markets are open, so it's going to be slightly lower liquidity. On Tuesday, we've got Powell speaking again at a bit of a weird time, 5:20 UK time, so it's 4:20 UK UTC, 4:20 long. So yeah, watch out for that. And then Wednesday, we've got I believe. Nothing really too important. There's obviously Fed officials speaking. I don't think that's like too important. You do really need to keep an eye on that. But I think it's Thursday that we've got CPI or PPI or initial jobless claims. So yeah, there's no times on this, I think, because of the government shutdown. But we should be getting PPI, initial jobless claims. These are all the big ones. And yes, I think that continues slightly into Friday as well. But Thursday, we'll have to see what happens with that. It's going to be quite a volatile week, especially after something as crazy as that in the markets. Long to shorts, we've got a ton of longs entering the market on that dump. We've crossed over quite heavily on the daily time frame as well from pretty much that dump candle. Everyone got filled. And people are long their dip. So we've got a lot of longs in the market. If we can grind back up to the highs, we might see a few more shorts coming in. But in general, a lot of longs definitely means that we could see a bit more pain in the market, especially in the short term. Max pain, 24-hour, we're sitting a lot closer to the long max pain, which is sitting at 114 on Bitcoin. Quite close, actually, to the long max pain. Just 114. Let me have a look where that is. Yeah, kind of just around the Q4 level. Let's not really mess too far with the short time frames. The weekly long max pain sitting at 111.3, so lower. We're close to that. Short max pain sitting at 126. We know we've got a lot of liquidations just above those highs. 2 week 111k for the long max pain, and the 1 month sitting at 109. So all the short max pain is kind of sitting in one spot, which is about 126k. And all the long max pain is kind of a little bit spread out, quite a lot lower. So I do think my first impressions are that, if we chug up higher, it's going to be a good short. And if if we start coming down, we might even just fill the wick, as everyone kind of like de-risks and we like kind of licks some of those shorts, some of those longs. But yeah, we kind of just need to wait for the dust to settle and not really make any like big decisions straight off the rip. So yeah, liquidations, there's not really going to be too much the downside on this at all. I'm going to have to probably go to a higher time frame, and then we'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly for me. So yeah, I mean, the liquidation book's pretty thin. We obviously have a lot of stuff sitting at 125, 126, of course, all those shorts. And to the downside, not really too much below us. I'll probably just go to the 1 week and see what's happening. Yeah, not really too much down below at all. Let's actually look at the 3-day quickly. Oops. Yeah. Kind of pretty thin in this area, so I'm kind of expecting them to build the order book back a little bit with some sort of like sideways or grinding and stuff like that. In terms of the legend, we've got the 1 hour volume node at 112, so that would be a potential area of interest for me to potentially hold, especially as we do have a new hourly high, so there's also a potential Stuber there as well. Keep that in mind. And in the order book, I think it's pretty thin, so yeah, we're failing this 15-minute. The hourly sitting at about 111.8, 112. And yeah, we do have a couple orders just below us. I'm not sure how legitimate these are. 150 Bitcoin, 160 Bitcoin. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at in this moment. Last but not least, we've always seen long short ratio. We've got more longs in the market. Yeah, it's a bit more recipe for slightly more downside, which is kind of where I'm leaning. Lastly, if anyone's interested in a bit of streaming, I stream some Dark Souls 3. It's pretty fun. Extremely hard game. Just a couple hours every day, you know, in my free time. So yeah, let's have a look at the charts, because that's kind of what everyone's wanting to look at in terms of the old data. I'm pretty sure 40 billion or something. I think 40 billion was wiped out of the market, which is absolutely insane. This is just more than a lot of major big crashes that we've had. And yeah, let me get the chat up as well and just make sure that it's all good. About 46, yeah. So let's start off with the good, okay? Because we'll go into the bad very, very shortly. Don't get me wrong, I'm not isolated from any burns in this sort of like market crash. So the good is that we were short from the previous weekly open. Very, very easy short. I was short from 123.3 or 5. You had a couple opportunities to catch this. I got short very initially about Wednesday. And you also had the wick retest of the high. We also broke the low and did another bearish retest here just before the whole move. So the good is that we caught a really nice short, which I pretty much closed out. I think it was about 111 most of it. So yeah, that's the good thing. In terms of Bitcoin right now, I would say, you know, it's a bit of a weird situation to be in, because on the one hand, we've obviously got all these liquidations up here from all these shorts, just because the long book has been pretty much quite wiped. Conversely, we do have more longs in the market. So either way, I'm kind of looking at it like this. If we come up, there's going to be a decent stupid short somewhere in here. Okay. If we come back down and start licking some of these some of these longs, there could be a bit of a bounce long. We might fill the wick, we might not. It's going to be interesting to see. To long, I would kind of want to see some sort of like local gains or something that is going to make me want to long. But there is potential that we could sort of like hold the node that I was talking about around 112. And then there is also the potential for a little bit of a bullish stuber somewhere in there. But yeah, that's kind of how it's looking at the moment. We have got a little bit of support in here in this area, but yeah, there's obviously more longs in the market, and it's a little bit of a weird situation to be in with the market not being open today. We've got a lot of shorts above us, but we also are majority still long. So it's one of those weird ones where if we do like grind down and grind some of those longs in, I'm going to be definitely looking to long. And if we grind up, then conversely, there could be a short on, but we could also just grind into all of those short liquidity as well. So we're going to just have to keep an eye on it and let the kind of dust settle this week. However, let me just take off some of these lines. I don't think the weekly close was that bad. Yes, it could have been way better. We could have closed above, like, sort of here. But at least we've closed above the bullish engulfing candle. So we do have something there. And yeah, we do have something there. I would say that this is going to be extremely heavy resistance now, this daily sort of structure that we kind of lost. So in between like 123.3 and like 121.3, this area is going to be an area where it's going to be heavy resistance now. And yeah, if we just look at the liquidations, we do have quite a lot of high leverage stuff in this area. So kind of like 121.1 to 125.3. There's a lot of shorts that could be ripped. And to go melt up a little bit higher, we've got a really big pocket now at 127.5 6.5 to 128.5. So this area is going to be an area as well to keep an eye on if we do start of like grind all that stuff. But anyhow, I do think that if you just put a stuber on this whole move, I know the wick's a little bit like, yeah, this is a liquidation wick, so it's kind of skewed the price a little bit, but this area is definitely going to be an area where I'm potentially going to look to re-short. So I have taken profit on my original short from 123.3, and I'll happily reload if we do get back up there. Conversely, we've got a little bit of high leverage just below us. It's kind of sitting just under 112, so just under the node, kind of at the lows. And it'll be interesting to see if we take that stuff and hold 110.6 on the 4-hour close. So that's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking at really getting caught up in the middle, unless there's some really, really tight invalidations. So, yeah, it's kind of looking a little bit shit at the moment. Let's take that off. Actually, yeah, let's take that off. So, what should we talk about? In terms of like things that have small invalidations, something like BNB, which I was in last night. This is a very small invalidation, so which is why I kind of like was like, okay, I'm going to take a little bit, and I've already been stopped out at -2%. So, yeah, it was very simply just, are we going to hold this? What's the invalidation? Just literally just gain it. So, you know, a little stop, a little 2% stop, nothing too crazy. Apart from that, I'm pretty flat in the market right now. And yeah, probably the worst thing for me was Doge and Sui. So Doge, if I just take everything off, I probably need to start deleting a lot of stuff. Doge, I had a lot of orders set in between sort of like 235 in this area, and my stops were pretty much like 205, kind of like just below this structure, and I absolutely got blown the fuck out by this. So yeah, absolutely got blown. Probably got stopped off up. You know, what is this? It's probably like minus. It's probably like minus 10% raw, and with the slippage, it was a really, really bad burn. Same thing with Sui. This thing absolutely got rinsed. Let me take this off. This thing got absolutely obliterated all my orders. But yeah, those are the only two things that I got really, really badly hurt on. Just because I had a lot of orders set around basically around here, around these lows that we put in. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is, guys. We've made some good profits on alts this year, and it was just a bit of a rough one, wasn't it? Like, that happened all so fast. Look at this big, massive liquidation wick as well, and it's one of those things where if I didn't have my Bitcoin short, I would have been feeling very, 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 very sorry for myself. Even so, I'm feeling a little bit sorry for myself, but it is what it is, guys. Like, this is what happens when you trade alts on leverage. And even for someone like me, who I would like to think that I'm an intermediate trader, and I do have stops in, and I only trade on like 3x, even someone like me, I did get burned by a couple of things. So, I mean, it's kind of like to be expected in such a big liquidation event, which 40 billion got liquidated. I'm not going to say that I'm isolated from the incident, because I'm definitely not. But, you know, this year's been very good for alt trading in general. And I hope everyone who did have orders on Doge and Sui had a stop and was also in the Bitcoin short as well, to make the loss not as bad. And last but not least, I will say that, not to try and brag, but on Hype and Sol, I was very, very vocally selling a lot of my positions and even spot in this area of $55. And so the reason for Hype was, this is basically just the 5.618 fib, and we were getting very, very exhausted. And my whole target for this move, which I was long in like the high 30s here, was 55. So once we got there, I did sell a lot of my Hype off, which kind of just protected me. as well and maintain my liquidity. The same thing happened with Sol. When I said we got up in between 240 and 250, I sold off half of my spot bag. Literally, I just limited out of half. So all in all, I've been able to cover myself, even if I did take some really, really bad hits on a couple things. And yeah, one thing that was actually very wise was this exiting this Pepe long. I think I was talking about BK when we were doing some really bad retests all the way up here. It was actually here on Wednesday when we did this bearish retest of the Q3 in September. I exited that as well, which would have definitely got absolutely rinsed as well. So all in all, you know, I've come out from this not in a positive, definitely in a loss, but it could have been way worse. So, you know, it is what it is, guys. And apologies if anyone got burnt on Doge and Sui. It's just the nature of these things with, you know, we can talk about, you know, the Trump and the treats and whatever, but anyway, the market was probably super over leveraged, and, you know, we can't really blame it too much on that because we did expect downside. We were expecting, you know, some downside in the market. I don't think anyone expected that. Look, Doge went all the way to 9 cents, bro. AVAX went to $8. Sui went all the way to 50 cents. Like, this is something, this is like crazy liquidation wicks that you can't really foresee. You can only plan ahead for, really, with stops and automation. So yeah, it is what it is. And in general, I feel like we kind of just need to let the dust settle. So something like what I'm doing right now is I'm only taking trades that have really, really tight invalidations. So for example, I am in a long on Sui, and I'll just tell you how like I'm kind of approaching the market. So Sui here, we did a nice like flip of this level, nice bullish retest. This is what I didn't want to lose. And on the 5 minute, we've also got some decent support here, which is what I was looking at the daily close last night. So I said, if we get into this support zone, I'm going to obviously long a little bit on low leverage. I'm pretty much trading on 2x now, not even 3x anymore. I trade on 3x, but now I'm kind of going on 2 just for the moment. So I did get filled on this with a stop kind of like here, and I'm a little bit up. I'm going to de-risk it and, you know, put the stop at break even. But yeah, that's kind of like what I'm doing at the moment. I'm only taking setups with really, really tight invalidations, and yeah, I'm sure that we're going to get a chance to make it all back. In general, I mean, the market is in a slightly weird place where alts have been absolutely obliterated. Bitcoin doesn't look that bad. It could look way worse if we close that weekly very, very low. And yeah, I'm still kind of expecting a bit of a blow off top, you know, but it does look shit at the moment. So we're gonna have to see what happens this week, especially with all the data coming out, and the US market's not open, and yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a precarious week, isn't it? Check ETH, please. It's not doing that bad, actually. Yeah, ETH and Bitcoin held up really well. So if you're trading these on low leverage or spot, you're probably quite insulated to a certain extent. But yeah, I mean, this is just, it's very, very, very nasty. So we went all the way down to the yearly open. Lucky if anyone had some stink bids. Adrian actually said something really good on his stream on Friday, or was it Sunday, or was it yesterday, where he's going to make a new account, which is just going to be like 1x orders. And he's just going to set stink bids and like leave it. Literally just forget about it, which is actually quite a good idea. But ETH, I mean, I don't think this looks that good. So we've got really, really heavy resistance up here now. This is going to take a lot to break between like 4.5 to 4.7. It's going to take a lot for us to break this now. And what do we have? We have a new low. We have a lower high. We have a confirmed downtrend. Ever since we did this break of structure here, this lower low, we had a very confirmed downtrend. And, you know, I think that's probably going to continue, even if we kind of like grind up into here, I think we're going to see a bit more like dumpiness in the market. Conversely, this is why it's a very, very weird time, is because we do have not that many long liquidations below us, and we have a lot of short liquidations above us. So my kind of thought is that if we get back up to the high, I will short the Stubo, especially around this like high leverage stuff. If we get back to the low, there's a potential long, depending on how decent the risk management is. Like if the stop's like 1.53%, I'll probably take something, especially if we take this high leverage stuff around just under at 3.95, 3.9 ish in this area. And yeah, if we get back up to the highs, it's going to be a definite short, and then we're either going to make a high low or we're going to make a new low, which is kind of what you would expect at this moment in time, because we do have a lower low and we have a lower high. You're expecting this to make a new low. That's what we're expecting. So yeah, it's kind of just we're kind of just in that zone where you can't really do anything at the moment. You can go on the 5 minute, you can pull some fibs, you can do some scalps with some decent risk, but just make sure you're ooh, protecting yourself. That was a naughty echo. What's up, Max?
Yo,
You alright, brother?
this working, brother?
Yeah.
Yeah, crack-a-lacking, man. What's going on?
What's happening, man? You good?
Yeah, dude, I'm good, man. I'm actually on the charts. Got loads of calls today with all the company stuff, but I'm eyeing up the charts. I had a nice trade yesterday. I had a nice long on Bitcoin back up. It was just gonna obviously do a retest of the high. It's what we're getting now, but I've actually just taken that off. But yeah, man, I'm good. Like, there's a lot to talk about in the big meeting with Viking today.
Yeah, there
Like
is.
a lot of alts. Yeah, it's going to be more to do with just obviously there's trades and it's going to be volatile now, and there's going to be lots of stuff we can use with the indicators, and the bots are probably going to kill this because the volatility is going to go up, and it's going to be good to trade right now. But a lot of dudes, yeah, obviously, you probably you can probably, like, my DMs have been going mental, whether it's like family, friends, or even just people who follow me. Just like so many people got wrecked because of that on the altcoins specifically.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, like, like I've been saying it for fucking years. Like, you can build an account for literally 10 years. And if you're over levered and you don't have correct risk management, you can lose it all in this scenario in 3 minutes. So, like, it's so unbelievably chaotic. Like, the Sui army are just out.
Bro.
Like, I got a lot of dudes who were listening to like Raoul Paul and shit, and like Raoul Paul apparently was telling them like you're fine on 4x or 3x, and the market makers are going to hold it, and also I'm irresponsibly long on it. And the thing is, it's just like, this is why I tell people like how important stop losses are, and the thing is, it can take years for you to learn your lesson, but that to like specifically for people on altcoins, they are usually more levered because Bitcoin traders are still fucking degens, most of them, but you don't really need to. If you're trading the Bitcoin market, I would say if you're on leverage, you don't really need to go that. Well, you could go higher on Bitcoin, but there's more liquidity, so it's a safer bet. But a lot of these altcoin degens and lower time frame guys, they're trying to squeeze out like these crazy 100x's and have a very, very high leverage. I would just say that the synergy is you could actually probably get away with a little bit higher leverage on Bitcoin. I still don't touch it, but if you're fucking trading an altcoin like Sui on leverage as well, this just goes to show that all of the altcoins everybody thought were like medium to like high stable altcoins. It just puts it into perspective that actually, in comparison to the global markets and stock markets and indices, it's literally these big altcoins are still absolute shitters, shitcoin shitters with no liquidity, and all it takes is the market makers to pull. And if you have cross margin like everybody does, which we always tell them not to, your account gets licked. And there's people losing millions out of this shit, like 30 mil, 20 mil, 5 mil, even normal people like losing 50K, losing their full account. And Sui, like that chart there is a pretty hyper chart. But the thing is, now it's probably never going to recover really, because there's no institution or big money or a hedge fund or family office who are going to look at that and be like, yeah, sure, let's invest in Sui in an ETF, knowing that it went down 85% in 3 minutes once. So it's just over, man. A lot of these altcoins are
It's
Yeah,
not
they
looking
might
good.
have like these kind of they might have relief rallies and stuff like that because of the volatility, but I think long term it's just difficult to look at a SUI chart and think to yourself, oh yeah, look, good long term investment if it can wick down 85% in 3 minutes. And
Mm.
it's like this kind of shit here is yeah, like what we've been speaking about for a long, long time. So I don't want to go too much into like just telling people what they need to do anymore. Like if you learnt the lesson, you learnt the lesson. Now actually execute because if you didn't listen before, now you've learned from your mistakes. And if you don't learn from your mistakes, then you're just being a fucking idiot. And that's it in this game. In any game. In any game, if you don't learn from your mistakes, it's going to be difficult to make it happen. So
For sure, for sure.
it's tough.
It is tough.
I said that
Look
as
at
well
it.
yesterday on my stream. Like this moment is literally the natural selection of tokens. Like half of them will not even survive,
Mm.
not even coming
Yeah,
back
like yeah,
to
I
the
think
prior high.
it's going to be so difficult. Like that wick there. It's just like it's like I don't know. It's like when someone's got a really bad reputation and it just lasts forever. You like they just never get rid of their bad reputation. This is like that moment for Sui. It's just got a really bad rep, and it's like everyone got wrecked, and it's just going to be difficult for this to recover in a meaningful way. It might do in the future. It might in 10 like 5 years. Crypto in 5 years is a long time. But it's just going to be difficult to see that institutional money, and then they were all like banging on about ETFs and shit. That's just not happening now. Like you're like maybe the Solana ETF is going to stick around, but no, it's tough. But the thing is, like, this is why I've always told people that it's not really possible to trade on leverage. Like I'm not saying it's the thing is I trade with leverage, but I do it very specifically. I hedge against my spot portfolio because that's how I would make sense to me, and then lose 1 or 2% on that leveraged position if it continues.
Mm.
Because the thing is with leverage in itself, you only really need it for short selling because you can only make 100% on the way down. On the way up, you can go up thousands of percent anyway. You
Mm.
don't need to lever yourself up to get more risk to go up. So you buy, say you have 10 Bitcoin, let that run. Like let that have that's your spot position. Let that go up or let that run up in price in your swing. But if you don't want to sell your full 10 Bitcoin, just have 1 Bitcoin on 10x leverage and then use that to short against it. And then if you lose that trade, guess what? You only lose 1 or 2% of the leverage position, not having to go and sell your whole portfolio 10 Bitcoin spot and then be in and out of the whole position because then you're putting yourself in a risk that you're going to miss the next trade. You want to have exposure, but have limited risk. So it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm completely unscathed. I actually sold like all my BNB like fucking last week, and the bot obviously sold my MDX hodl bot sold around the top. Shit, my fucking door's ringing. But yeah, no, I'll go into more detail of Viking, but it's just a bit
Yeah.
like
Do a big stream for
it's
us.
annoying to see people get so.
Yeah, do a big stream for us. But yeah, there is a good argument. Like even on Sui, there is a good argument that there is still a decent move in this, especially to like clear out all of this stuff before the bear market. So yeah, it might be done like in the sense where it's not a great like long term investment, but
Bro,
there's
listen,
still going
one
to be a
sec.
trade on it.
Sui, I think Sui's probably going to continue up. I think everything's going to continue up. This wick has wiped out everything on the downside. So like, there's no incentive for it to go down. I actually think most of Bitcoin and everything. I think Bitcoin's going to have a continuation up, and I think most altcoins will as well. They'll do what BNB is doing right now. I'm just saying, in the long term, in terms of looking for big institutional investment to keep it alive, in the next bear market. I think the next bear market will kill a lot of these tokens because when the market's falling and then you go to the macro lows, that's when you really need the long, strong hands who are going to be investing for the long term. And I just don't see people doing that and stuff like Sui. But I would say that I do think a lot of this stuff's going to pump now. We've wiped out everything on Sui. Everything's wiped out until fucking zero. So there's no incentive to go down. All the money's gone. Like the money's been licked. So like now, I do think it will probably go up. I think Bitcoin will go up. I think a lot of these coins will have their last hurrah of craziness. And then when the actual next bear market starts for the crypto market as a whole, that's when you're going to see a lot of them die, and then the new cycle will happen, and then there'll just be a new Sui anyway.
Yeah.
There'll just be another company which will be like, oh, we're actually using AI and quantum now to like fucking validate our blocks. Some gay marketing, and then Sui will just be looked as an old relic, and Raoul Paul will be crying himself to sleep with his irresponsibly long positions. Just fucking.
There's always going to
Mate,
be
if
a
that guy
new
was on
Sui.
leverage, he's probably not.
No,
He's probably not
chilling.
on leverage, but like the thing is, he's selling though. Fucking selling, I bet you.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I was selling a lot of spot Sol 240 to 250. I sold a lot of hype at 55. But then again, I had a lot of orders on Sui and Doge lower, which absolutely got obliterated. So, you know, take the bad with the good.
Honestly, mate, I had a pretty good trade on BNB. I just sold all my BNB, but that was an instinctual, because I've been doing this for so long. It was just an instinctual trade that I placed because I was just like, I'm just going to get out of BNB at these levels because it's very likely going to go back to 700. It literally went back to 700 a few days later. But the great thing is about BNB, even if it continues up, BNB, I'm sitting in $250,000 cash, which can be flooded back into other alts which haven't really recovered yet.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna sit on 12% really, mate. I'm just gonna take the yield on it, and then the bot sold as well. My main bot had a really nice trade, 11% up, and then got out at the top. But I am gonna be pulling the MDX hodl bot soon.
Yeah.
Probably when I believe the next bear market cycle starts, I'm gonna pull the whole system and I'm gonna redo it. And I'm going to do it in a different way. It's not going to be an hourly bot anymore. It's probably going to either be 4-hour daily. And I'm going to change the whole system to another strategy that I like, which has worked very well on SPX and other indices and even gold. But like, I'm going to pull the whole hodl bot system, probably build a different type of way of even connecting to it. Might not even use copy trading. I think I'll probably try and build something within MDX Algo so you can connect it directly.
Say that. Maybe on the 4 hour as well, it'll work a lot better if the market's maturing a bit and it's going to be a little bit more dragged out. So the 4 hour is going to be a little.
Oh, exactly. That's what I think is going to happen. Yeah. Well, the cycle, the moves are going to be drawn out more. So I don't really think it's like, I think hourly used to be kind of like, you could get away with swing trading on hourly, but now I think that's going to have to be more pushed down into a scalp trading strat. And then I think, yeah, I even think daily, but daily can be, even on SPX, can be quite broad. It just depends. But there's lots of stuff out there which has got great back-tested results, etc. It's not difficult to do. 12-hour as well. I might fiddle around with the 12-hour because I do like the 12-hour.
I enjoy the 12-hour as well. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, I really like it. I've always liked it. I like it on all types of markets. I like it on everything, actually. I never really struggled to not make money on it, especially with momentum indicators. You're just getting you're just doubling up the read from a daily.
Yeah, you
just gives you that extra kind of.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
I do like it, and it's not like, let's say, internationally respected. Like, no one really talks about it. I think it's a good one,
niche, yeah,
for sure.
Look at all this liquidity on hype, though. We're gonna lick all this stuff at some point. So yeah, run the lows.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the long to short.
But there's a lot of longs on Bitcoin at the moment right now. A lot of longs.
Everyone's
surprisingly.
Yeah, it's probably gonna top over like now. Actually,
it's probably gonna fill a bit of the wick, get those people out, and then run it back for the most hated rally ever.
Yeah, I think it's either going to come up to about 120 and then go down. I think we're likely going to get a retest of the low wick for sure on this, especially with the longs how they are.
That's what I'm saying.
I genuinely think we're probably going to come back down to about 103, 102, just above 100K, and then that will actually be the low, and we'll probably continue up on Bitcoin. I don't think anything on the chart is still even telling me that it's the end of the bull market, which is like most people would think in the altcoin market. That's ridiculous, but I've seen this before a million times. You get this big flush of liquidity. It will go towards the low. Everyone will start shorting the low, and then it will continue up. And then there's a lot of scenarios where it's looked like this anyway, even in the prior three sideways markets when we have a big wick in the middle down, flush out everything and then continue. And if that happens, I do think a lot of these alts are going to have their big last hurrah. I'm just saying in the next bear market, it's going to be difficult for institutions to say, yeah, let's do a SUI ETF. It's like, nah. Bro.
Yeah, I feel like if you're looking at alts for like a long-term sort of like portfolio, ETH, Doge, BNB, maybe Sol, that's about it. That's kind of what I thought. That's what I'm thinking. You can obviously get your links and your RVs if you want a little bit, but if I was actually like doing like a new long-term port in the bear market, I would not be touching a lot of this stuff, but yeah, Doge and BNB.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't even think a lot of these, like, I don't even think Adder or Link or any of these other ones are. I'm just picking out SUI because it was essentially one of the worst out of the bunch. But even Crypto.com's going to struggle. Crypto.com's got the brand, etc., which will help it. But I don't see.
You really think it'll struggle?
I don't think it's going to die. I don't think Crypto.com will die. But I'm saying that
Look at
it's
the
not
crypto
a good
chart.
look. It's not a good
That
look at all.
wick, it was just a normal price action for them, and nothing changed on it. It's crazy. It did them even good. Like zoom out on the high time frame on crypto.com.
Which ticker are you looking at?
Oh, on CRO.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, no,
What
I
margin
still
come
don't
up?
think it's a good look.
Yeah, Jesus.
yeah.
I still
Look
don't
at
think
that.
I don't think Sara is good. It's not going to die, but it's going to take longer for it to realize its main vision. Polygon's pretty much fucking done. It's going to be a tough one. I think it will have a rally, but I don't think Polygon's going to come back. There'll be something will take over.
Yeah, that
Look
shit's
at the
dead.
BNB chart, bro.
Polygon
Polygon's
shit's
having.
dead.
I'm definitely selling out of Polygon in the next highs. XRP is just the weirdest looking thing ever, but again, it's not really anything different to what it's done in the past. So you're an idiot if you're buying it anyway. Dogecoin has had a pretty big shudder.
Yeah.
Yeah, the alt market is it's just not good. Like what it's done is it's just put into perspective again how actually small the altcoin market is. Everyone was getting so confident of how like the medium caps and the hardcore apps and the high caps they're all like fucking fine, but you just realize that it's all shit. If the MMs pull, there's nothing there. It goes to zero, and that's a very very difficult thing for a lot of institutions to. They won't be able to swallow that pill. Essentially, they're going to be looking back to Bitcoin, or even just looking out at equity again, because coins are coins. They're not really a representation of the company itself. Like the equity of the company is different to the coin, so you're going to see a lot more equity based funds coming out of this for sure. Just saying fuck it, let's not deal with coins anymore. It's too difficult to understand like the dynamic between it having a relationship with the equity of the business and the profitability of the business, but also it has a massive supply and demand part to it, which can completely change the dynamic of. That's why it's obviously you have that with the stocks, but you can kind of value the stock on loads of different factors of the company's profit, etc. But coins don't do that. Coins are slightly different, bruv.
The altcoin market is just obviously like very over leveraged as well, and the order books can get quite thin depending on what exchange you're trading on. So even like for someone like me that trades on like 2 or 3x, something like this can, even if you have a stop, can still kind of like burn you a little bit.
Yeah. Well, if you're on cross, yeah. Well, yeah, I was talking to Will about this because he was always banging on about, oh yeah, man, I'm gonna get into another cycle and just long up some alts on 2 or 3x. And I used to say, I was like, dude, like, why bother? Like, why have the 2 or 3x risk? Anyway, like the problem is that this is it. Like, if you're on cross, obviously is ridiculous. Even isolated on 3x. Like, here's the problem, which people don't get. I can't sleep at night knowing that there's even a chance. That's why I don't use this shit, because even if you're on cross margin and you're like, yeah, but my stop's at like 10K on Bitcoin. Like, for me, I can't sleep. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? If it's only 10K, but the thing is, you're going to bed, but there's a chance. It's like getting on a fucking airplane. I'm not the kind of guy who sits on an airplane. I'm like, it's 1,000,000 to 1, but there's a chance, and I'm still freaking out. It's like, it's just if there's a fucking chance. Like, this is the level of paranoia you need to be successful. You have to think in your head, if there's any fucking chance, I'm not taking it, because this has happened to everyone. Everyone was like, oh yeah, I'll just take the chance that it won't go down 85% in 3 fucking minutes. It didn't even take an hour. It didn't even take a day. It took 3 fucking minutes.
Literally.
And we've seen it, and it's like, this is unfortunately probably the worst flush out on altcoins ever.
I think
except
ever, yeah.
when Luna crashed. It's the
Well,
worst one ever, because we're a bigger market now. Luna was one token. It didn't drag everything down with it. It's the biggest flush out of alts ever. And it just, I didn't even think that it would be that severe in 3 minutes, but everything I've been saying for years, no one fucking listens, because it takes years for it to happen. But yeah, the cross is ridiculous. It's not really possible to make money on leverage trading if you're not extremely advanced in what you're doing, and you're using it to hedge against your own portfolio. That's the only way you can make money with it. That's the only way I've been using it for years. I don't use leverage ever. Like, you need to also get into your head as well. Like, the great thing about BingX, and the reason I quite like using BingX, is because they actually they kind of visualize your open spot positions in the same way that you would visualize the leverage position. A lot of exchanges like to dramatize and make your leverage positions more of the show in terms of the P&L numbers, and they put all the weight on it to make it look nice. with Bing X, they kind of do the same thing with spot positions. So you are getting the same analysis and the same P&L and everything with your spot, and it just makes you realize, like, yeah, like to be a trader is not leverage. The only reason you need to be able to buy and sell shit first. That's it. Then use leverage on the bond market when it's moving 0.1% and there's trillions of dollars of liquidity, so it can't go down 85% in 3 minutes. That's the only fucking time you should be using this shit and hedging against your portfolio, because then it's intelligent. Because then you're just like, I don't want to sell 10. Yeah, I've said the fucking analogy, but if your Bitcoin fucking position is 10 Bitcoin and you don't want to flip flop in and out, just take one out of the equation, leverage it up 10x to short, and then lose 1 or 2% on the way up if it continues, and you've still got your fucking 9 Bitcoin in the long. So that's the only way to do it.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I've had to have this conversation. I've had to have this
trade on
conversation
1x
too many
or
times the last few days. Yeah, just don't bother, because and also it's psychological. So like when you buy spot, you can forget about it. You're in your position, you can forget about it. It can run. You don't need the extra psychological stress of knowing there's an open position with a funding rate, and you have to look at your exchange and it's on a third party. You could have your coin just sitting on MetaMask, relaxed. Just make sure you've got the security of the MetaMask wallet. But even having it like on an exchange, it's like the difference between having paper gold in your bank or having bullion gold underneath your fucking bed. Like, you're going to sleep better at night knowing that your gold's with you in your bed if you're in a secure location. But I'm saying you obviously have multiple different ways of doing it. Have some in the bank, have some in paper, have some in bullion. But don't have all of your money on 1x waiting for the market to rise. Otherwise, you'll end up like all those dudes on Hyperliquid.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying like
Like
put
losing
your
18 million
liquidity on like 1x trades, but I'm saying if you do want to leverage trade, obviously do it with a small portion of your portfolio, so most of it's in spot, and then you could trade on 1x, because then you can do the whole like take your margin out if your position goes up and stuff like that, and it's easier to manage. Also,
and increase your liquidation.
Yeah, and also if you don't actually want to own the token, so I was talking about like if you want to trade something like Asta that you don't want to buy, you could trade it on 1x, and then it's basically a spot, and then you can, you know, do a lot of stuff. But you're right.
Yeah.
I'm
not saying don't use products and tools that are offered to us in the market. There are obviously places and times you can use things in the market which are there. I'm just saying that
be 80 to 90% in
I
spot.
I don't think 99% of people will ever make money using leverage in any way. Okay, that's what I think, and it's true, and we've seen it even the last week, because there's people who made hundreds, 50, 18, 20, 30. All these guys would have been in there. They would have started trading 7 years ago, maybe 10. I've been trading for about 12. So anyone who started trading 10 to 15 years ago, that might have been their 10 to 15 year run.
Yeah.
But they still lost it all trading leverage. So like I'm saying, all I'm trying to say is that it can take 10 years to build an account and lose it in 3 minutes.
Yep.
I'm just saying don't bother. And if you do, like I said, yes, you can use leverage. So say I like using leverage to hedge against my portfolio. I think it's a great tool. Very, very helpful. Yes, as well, if you have most of your money trading the spot upside, and then you have like say 25% of your high risk, high velocity trading account is in using leverage, then fine, you can take that risk. But it's only 25% of the 25%, if you know what I'm saying.
Exactly. And then even on that 25%, you're going to have some stops in, like it's not, or you're on isolated, you're not going to get licked on your whole.
Yeah,
of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a much more complex, like trading is much more like, there's so many different levels, and it's like an onion. You can keep going down and down and down the levels of what you do. It's not just like everyone thinks it's, oh, I'm going to buy everything now and sell everything now on 4x, and it's all going to be happy days.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Even 3x, even 3x is sometimes getting me a little bit like, whoa.
Yeah, but like it's just like the thing is, you just don't need it for upside. You don't need it for upside, because the thing could go up 1,000% anyway. You don't need 3,000. You're just adding extra risk. Then you have the funding and all the issues on the exchange. You don't need it. Like, the only great way of using it is to hedge against, because sometimes we all know through calculus the market can only go down 100%. So there's a logical explanation for why you want to hedge against something, because you could make more money on the way down than it just going down 20%. You make 60. I'm saying, like, there's no point on the upside using leverage in any way. The only way you would use it is if you knew the market had trillions of dollars of liquidity and can't go down 85% in a flash, and like it was a flash crash. And the issue is that the flash crashes happen when you don't you know, when you're not ready.
Yeah.
So
Especially on odds.
I had a dude who was like basically in tears. Like, not going to mention any names, 'cause it would be harsh. But he's just like, mate, I just remember you telling me like it will happen when you're asleep, when you don't know, and you'll be fucking your missus, and you know you'll basically be doing something else, and it will happen, and it might take 5-10 years for it to happen, but it will happen. And because you don't have a stop loss, you think that you're God. You just essentially you're sitting there in this little self-fulfilled confidence bubble of you're like, oh no, it's fine, I'm on my, and then it happens and you lose everything and you're just like, what? Like it happened. It was such a random move. Like, guys, this happened on a fucking Friday afternoon. Like, this is random.
Yeah, I was literally
Most people
playing
clocking off,
Battlefield and my
going to the
phone
pub.
was like fucking bugging out, and I was like, "Wait, what? AVAX at $9?
There's
Did someone let a
no
nuke
way,
off?"
no way. There's no way of being able to have any type of predetermined judgment in that hour it happened. The only thing you can say is that I sold a load of altcoins. Obviously, I sold BNB, but my bot did sell before the move, but that's what it's designed to do. So the 11% move it sold. So technically, it's up now when it rebuys. But like I said, I'm going to pull the hodl bot. I think I'll pull it in six. I'll pull it when I think it's going into the next bear market for sure. And I'll redo it, and I'm gonna come up with a whole new. I've already got the ideas level down, and we've got a whole new system anyway. So we're actually launching a new product, which is going to be like, you know, Algo Master. You're going to be able to see like thousands of different settings in Algo Master in the dashboard of the portal, and you'll be able to see which ones are the most profitable from the last 3 years. And you can click one button, and then it changes your Algo Master on TradingView to those settings for you to connect to Wonder Trading. That's coming soon, so that's going to be really good for automation, because you got to automate this shit, man. Because
100%. Like, I'm not really automated, and that's probably the most annoying thing about this move, is that I couldn't really catch any of it on the bots. I mean, I was short from 123, and then I sold a lot of my spot. I sold half of my sold spot bag and a lot of my hype trades, but I mean, I still was pretty much caught offside. So yeah,
you should run some. Yeah, just get help out. You know, that Eggle will probably do it for you for free, mate. Just like get on a call and he'll probably sort you out.
Jack.
Just get...
It's just the problem
you are quite
with UK,
young
innit?
still, so.
Yeah, well, you could yeah, you're right. Well, but Bybit is coming back, so Bybit's coming back to the UK in 3 weeks.
But not futures.
I can't actually. I'm not really allowed to say that. Yeah, the whole thing's coming back. Everything's coming back.
Oh,
you're gonna be used the whole. You're gonna be used everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they got everything sorted. Yeah, I'm not 100% on what they're gonna be able to offer in leverage, but it's definitely going to be perpetual swaps available. But it just might be like one of those ones you go on, which is like limited to, you know, it might be a 3 to 5x. It might be like eToro or something. But they're going down the same path as like the eToros and the plus 500s. But they will be that option. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like, we don't need fucking leverage. So like, just like fucking just use Bybit with a bot and just do spot trading, man, and just chill out. Like, it's funny, man. Like, I don't know. There's people who I've been talking to who started this game when I started this game, and I'm obviously made a big success out of it for multiple different ways. But there are people who just haven't managed to do it, and they've just done things that were so simple to do, which was don't overlever yourself, be patient, and then break up your strategy into 4 different things. And it really makes you realize how much of this comes down to just self-control, discipline, and psychology. It's just like that's really what happens when you're in the micro, when you're in the day-to-day and the week-to-week. The technical analysis and the trading and the actual implementation of your trades is super important. But when you zoom out, the people who actually make it, the ones who it just comes way more into your psychology and how you define your risk and how disciplined you are to say, no, I'm not going to become greedy. It's just trying to manipulate your own, you know, greed, fear, all of your psychological traits you have in your mind, which make you do stupid shit, and writing everything down, making sure you're disciplined, all this kind of shit. And even just having 25% of your money just sitting in fucking 3% yield. Like, there's so many people who are just like, no, I would never do that. It's only 3%. It's like, well, it's better than losing everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the
best trades
you need to have at least 25% just sitting in you. Because they are, because like you let them run and you don't look at them and you're not staring at the screen. And you always make a mistake when you're staring at the screen at the chart. Like it's not possible. It's like putting a fucking look. If there's a child, right, who doesn't have access to any sugar, it will never eat sugar. But if you fucking walk it down Mayfair Street with candy shops left, right, and center, it's gonna eventually end up in a fucking sweet shop. Like that's the whole thing with leverage. You're putting the thing in front of you to potentially give you to break and just say fuck it, let's just jump in and let's try and make this happen with high leverage. And it's that constant in your face. You're on the exchange, you're looking at the trade, you're gonna overthink it, you're probably gonna make a mistake. It's like you're in the casino. Like if you've got a prolific gambling problem and you ban yourself from every casino in the UK, great, you'll never be able to fucking gamble again. But if you're sitting in the fucking casino, you're eventually gonna start spinning the wheel, aren't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a bit of tough love. It's hard because there's a lot of guys who are like really badly hurt here. But like, I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad. I'm just trying and make the point that the point I've always made is that you don't know when these things are going to happen. The money, I literally say it from Mark Douglas. Like I'm like the market. I've said it 1 billion times. I don't even remember the quote. I've said it so many times. It's fucking the market can do. You know, it can essentially do something that you don't predict at any point, at any time in any market. Like you can't control this. Like the market can do shit, which is so unbelievably extreme that no one can control it. And even if you have a chance, I'm talking like even if there's a chance, if you leave it long enough, you're essentially giving every day you're rolling the dice. If you have even a chance, if you're on 2x, 1x, whatever it is, there's even a chance. Every day you're just rolling the dice. You're just getting away with it. It's the same. It's kind of the same as every single flight you get on. It's essentially a little bit like rolling a dice. It's very, very, very small risk, but it can happen, and it does, and that's the problem. If you did 100 flights a day, which is not even possible, you have an extremely higher risk of maybe dying in an airplane crash than someone who takes one a year. It's just what you're doing when you have even a chance. You need to have at least 50% to 70% of your money. There's not even a chance they can get taken out. It's worrying. Like there was very a lot of evidence saying that this is an orchestrated event as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of
who knows.
You know, also the like tweets and stuff like that. But you know, you're right. Like anything can happen at any time in any market, and
yeah. Mark Douglas.
You're right. You're exposing yourself to the
time.
potential risk of that happening anyway. Especially if you don't have a stop, or especially if a lot of your account is in leverage or anything. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely brutal.
It's fucking yeah, man. I'm gonna jump on another call. You're a legend.
All right.
Speak soon.
See you later, mate. Have a good one.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me catch up to the chat. My mates will trade at nothing else. XRP. Hedging is the best use. I've not applied hedging in any way yet. Still comfortable enough with leverage. Other than that, short scalps. As you sell a percentage of my spots and buy lower. I mean, yeah, spot trading is the best. The way I use leverage is just for shorter invalidation, so shorter time frames. I'm only ever on low leverage, but even like Max is right. Even on something like this, where for example like Sui, where I had orders set in between 3.2 and 3.3, even that got absolutely rinsed, like straight off the rip, like minus 7% raw. So, you know, these things happen, and yeah, it's gonna be a volatile week for sure. Like for example, I have a lot of Tau in spot. So if we just look at the Tau chart, I mean, because I like the coin, I just bought a lot in spot in between, like I think it was around like 320 or something, like around here. I'm up on this bag. I'm up 30. I'm like, you know, I'm still up on this. I mean, I've sold a lot of my spot, so yeah, it's just it's a rough one. And I don't want to say that I'm insulated from the move, because I'm definitely not. I definitely did get burned in some way, but yeah, it's just it is what it is when you use leverage and you do this sort of stuff. Like these things can happen, and it's extremely rough for a lot of people. You can automate on Hyperliquid. Oh. I usually sell percentage of my spots by low. No, that's the best play. That's the best way to do it. So all the best traders, they're pretty much like 80. They're 70 to 80% in spot, and then majority in like Bitcoin and ETH. And so for when things like this happen, you're pretty much protected as much as possible. And then, you know, if you're trading leverage on with like 10 to 20% of your capital, then even if you do make bad losses like I did on Sui and Doge, it's still a negligible amount. Like, yeah, it hurts on your leverage account. It hurts, like, but, you know, I'm not wrecked, essentially. Like, I'm a little bit wrecked on Sui, but other than that, like, we go again, guys. We absolutely go again.